Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to have you joining us. Listen, we're excited. We have a great conversation that we're going to be having on today, and I need you to do me a favor. As you're coming in, go ahead and speak to us. Let us know that you are tuning in for this Sunday night live on today. Please let us know you're tuning in, and then I want you to take a moment to share it on your platform. So wherever you are, if you're tuning in, we want you to share it on your platform. We're going to have a great discussion on tonight. I want to take time to welcome you to the International Leadership College of Bishops and Pastors, our Sunday night live that our Bishop J.W. Wade hosts every Sunday night, and we're so honored to be a guest host tonight. We're standing in, holding up his arms as we continue to run with the vision that he has put before us as it relates to the College of Bishops. The College of Bishops is designed to equip and to train leaders. Our bishop is intentional about training the next generation for leadership. He is intentional about training and developing people for the next generation and for the kingdom to progress. And so tonight, we're so excited to be a part of what he's doing. We want to say welcome to each and every one of you. So again, take a moment. I want you to speak to us. Let us know that you're a part. And then I want you to take a moment to share it and let everybody know that we're here. We want to say hello to our bishop and overseer Wade, our leaders who cover us and keep us accountable and challenge us to grow. We want to say hello, how you doing to them. And we want to say hello to all of the members of the College of Bishops. So this Sunday night, we're so excited to share this platform to talk about leadership and how we can grow and become an effective leader. So we're excited to have you. So I have some guests that are here with me on tonight that's going to be sharing, and I'm going to introduce them in a minute. But first, I want to take time to invite you. I want you to be a part of the college. So I want to take time to invite you to be a part of this college. And we're hosting our National Leadership College on next year in 2025 in the month of June 27th and June 28th. You need to put it on your calendars. June 27th and June 28th, you need to put it in your calendars. This will be the part of our national gathering. It has been a blessing without fail. Last year, we had a phenomenal time as we talked about mental health and leadership. And you know, that is crucial as you're leading people to keep our minds straight, to keep our hearts straight, as we're continuing to develop and grow people. We also, y'all have to excuse me, I'm sweating like I'm preaching already, but we also want to invite you to this year's national leadership. So June 27th, June 28th, 2025, put it on your calendars so you can register and be a part. As you see it moving across the bottom of the screen, you want to go to Eventbrite and search for the International Leadership College of Bishops so that you can be a part. We want to see you there. If you're looking to grow, if you're looking to be developed, if you're looking to become a better version of what you want to be in your future, we invite you to be a part of the college. We want you to take time out and invite somebody else. If you're a pastor, bring your leadership team. If you're a bishop, bring your pastors that's up under you and come be a part. On June 27th and 28th, we want to see you there in the College of Bishops. So we want to see you there. I want to see you come and be a part of what God is doing. So as we continue in the spirit of our leader, we're continuing to talk about the development of leaders. If you follow Bishop Wade, you already know that he has a heart and a vision to take people who are looking to be better leaders for the kingdom of God and to grow and to develop. So I want you to take that in mind as we talk about how to follow. How to follow. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to follow. I read a quote from Aristotle, and Aristotle said, "He who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader." I'm going to say that again. He who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader. That's what Aristotle said. And not only, did Aristotle say it, Jesus said, "Whoever will be the greatest among you, let him be your servant." So Jesus believed that if we're going to be great leaders, it all starts with a heart of service. It all starts with a heart to look and to serve the body. So the heart of a leader is to serve. So tonight, what I did was I invited young men who are a part of our fellowship to talk to us about the journey of being a follower as they are in that stage of being groomed to become leaders. Normally, when we talk on this platform, we deal with leaders who are already in position. We talk about people who are already there. But today, we're going to take it from another standpoint to talk about people who are in the second seat or the second position, who is following a leader and they're being groomed to become leaders. So tonight, before I do that, so I know that y'all on one accord with us, if you're in the chat, say, "I am being groomed to become a leader." I want to know if you're with us. I am being groomed to become a leader. If you're out there and you're watching, and you're not necessarily in a leadership position, but you're a member of a church, you're serving as a minister, you're serving in any capacity up under a leader, we're going to talk to you tonight. I am being groomed to become a leader. This is that platform. And also, we want to say, if you have questions, you can also post your questions here on the chat, and we'll be able to get to your questions as well. So I want to take a moment to introduce those who are a part of this conversation that we're going to have on tonight. I have to my up here, Brother Marcus Williams. He has been a part of our church for over 21 years. He's been a part of our church. He's actually been a part since I started the ministry. And so we're excited to have him. We're going to be talking to him, asking him some questions. We have Brother Carlos Payton. He's been a part of the church. How long have you been a part of the church, Brother Carlos?
About 18 years.
18 years. 18 years. So he's been a part for 18 years. Bishop Taylor has become a part of our ministry, but he served up under the Honorable Apostle R.J. Washington, who was our leader before he transitioned. And Bishop Taylor, how long did you serve up under Apostle R.J. Washington?
It was 15 plus years. 15
plus years. So I think we got a good mixture of people who have been following leadership over a period of time, and they have been groomed and being groomed. And we're going to talk about that conversation and that process. So I want to talk to Brother Marcus. So Brother Marcus, he is dubbed in our church as the question man. If nobody else gonna have a question, Brother Marcus gonna have a question, and he's been with us for these over 21 years or so. And so, Brother Marcus, I do want to ask you, in starting out, over 21 years, what has been the greatest struggle to be a follower? Not totally in the leadership position, but in being groomed to be a leader. What would you say have been one of your struggles in being a leader?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity,
Yes.
Bishop. But one of my first strongest struggles was my age, because I was 5 years older than you. Mm-hmm. So when I came to the ministry, I believe I was 28, you was 22.
Yeah.
So the age difference was the first thing that I had to try to get over, because I felt like I knew more than you per se, even though you was my spiritual covering. But because of my age, I felt like I knew more.
Yeah.
So the struggle was to submit me being an older gentleman to a younger man. So that was the first struggle that I had.
That is very interesting that you would bring that up, because I think sometimes when we deal with leaders, sometimes we don't really understand that when God selects a leader, that he doesn't always just use the experience, but he endows a leader with wisdom. And when he endows a leader with wisdom, they may not have all the experience, but they have the mind and the heart of God. And one of the people that you get that from is Solomon. He was a wise man. God gifted him with the spirit of wisdom. And I think sometimes, and Timothy also had that problem. Paul had to encourage Timothy as he led a church as a young man not to despise his youth. Let no man despise his youth. And so, what was some of the things that helped you to get over the hurdle? Because there may be some people that are watching on tonight who have a leader that may be younger than them. They may be older. They may have the person may have had what they call more experience. And sometimes this is a real issue when it talks about being able to submit to leadership, because we think that life gives the experience, but when God calls a leader, he also gives them grace and wisdom. So how did you work through that process
Yes, sir.
to come to a place to submit to leadership?
Well, I would say you won me. You won me, and the fact that you was consistent, you cared about me, and the wisdom that God gave you to give to me was unparalleled. So for me to submit my life, when I joined your church, I gave you pretty much free reign of leading me. But
Mhm.
you won me over by the wisdom and the love and the care that you gave me. You made it seem like you was caring about me and not what I could do for the ministry. And
Yeah.
that made me want to give more back to you. I feel like I'm indebted because of what you did for me over the last 21 years. So you won me over, if I could say that.
So this was such a great observation, because it's what we're talking about, winning people through service. I know when I spent time in Panama City with Bishop Wade, and before I moved to Panama City to be with Bishop Wade for a season, I was traveling around preaching and different things along those lines. And when I joined the ministry down in Panama City, Bishop Wade, I thought I was coming down there to just finish preaching, you know what I'm saying? And Bishop Wade spoke to me and gave me assignments as it relates to serving people. One of the things that he said to me, I'll never forget, we had on our clergy attire like I have on tonight, and he went in the bathroom when we were in Panama City. He went in one restroom, I went in the other restroom, and he had us cleaning. He showed me how to serve, and then he left me with the responsibility of service. And he said, if you can't clean the house of the Lord, then you should be able to preach in the house of the Lord. Then he said, you're going to get this big old notebook. It was a binder, and the binder was probably like this big uh, 3-inch notebook that had all of the members in there. Now you have to see, I was just used to preaching. And he says, I need you to call all of the members. And he had where I had to write down what I said to the members. And periodically, he would pick up the notebook and call behind me to see was I lying. See, he was trying to make sure I wasn't feeling nothing in and not telling the truth. He would call and he'd put his red pen and his initials on it to let me know that he did call. And one of the things that he said to me is, you can't preach to a group of people that you can't serve. That's what he was trying to tell me. He said, you can't preach to a group of people that you can't serve. Because if you can't serve the people that you're getting ready to preach to, then you're going to use the audience for your own attention and not the intentions of others. So that's one of the things that he taught me that I try to transfer, which is what helped me win you by what you're saying, service. And so this is very important. All of you that are watching in the chat, I want you to put in there, we win through service. We win through service. If you're a leader and you're trying to win people and you're trying to develop people, teaching is great. But if you don't win through serving the people that you're trying to groom, then sometimes you'll miss the heart of it. That was very good. That was very, very good. All right. We'll be back around to talk some more because this is good so far. Brother Carlos has been with us. You said what, about 15 years now or so? You're on mute.
About 18 years.
About 18 years.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us about what has been one of the things that has been hard for you in serving and being a follower.
I think one of the biggest challenges that I've had over the years, I have a daughter that's out of the state. She's about 9 hours, 9.5 hours from me. And that's been a challenge
Mm-hmm.
to stay here and serve and follow and stay where I believe God has called me, and not go and be close to her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it presents a barrier in our physical contact, but I believe that this is where God called me. So that's just been a challenge over the years. Just always thinking about that, and if I was closer and that type of thing. So that's been one of my challenges.
So I think this is so good because I think one of the things that we have to teach and say to people that the way we serve or how we serve may not always be in the ideal circumstance. Sometimes, we have to find ways to serve while life is still happening. And one of the things that, as I watched you serve, and you go see your daughter and check on her and different things like that. But one of the things that I think I've watched is how God has taken care of your daughter while you serve. And I
Definitely.
think it is so important for us to understand that while we're serving, life happens. Different things happen. Things are not always ideal. And sometimes it's hard as a follower of God and a follower in the vision to remain faithful while life is going on. But I think one of the things that helps us is to know that while we are working as best we can in service, that God then in turn takes care of what we are concerned about. So how did you navigate through that? How have you been able to navigate through that? Because there may be somebody who's watching tonight who's saying, I do want to do more for the Lord, their child may be present. Their child may be present, but they're having things going on with their children, but they're trying to be faithful, to what God is saying. Or their child may be, at a strange or have a distant relationship. How have you been able to maintain focus and follow the plan of God for your life while having that care on your heart?
Um, I think one of the major things that's helped me out is just seeing how God, you said it earlier, has remained faithful to my daughter, to myself, to our relationship, even in the distance. One of Deacon Jones, your father's favorite scripture, it talks about, if except the Lord keep a house,
Yeah.
you know um the watchman waketh but in vain.
Yes.
So even if I was close, if I'm not in the will of God, my closeness is still not going to be the will of God, and it's still not going to provide what I think that I'm trying to provide for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because I know that I'm in the will of God, because I know that I'm doing what he's calling me to do, then I trust him to maintain the relationship. We have a wonderful relationship. When we get together, we have a good time, and it's almost like we don't miss a beat. And I just have to trust that process. Sometimes it gets hard. Sometimes when she goes through things, but God always makes a way. He has people set in place, wonderful support system, family there, that can put hands on her when I can't. And I just feel like that's God's faithfulness, because even though she's not close to me, there's somebody that can get to her. I can always get in contact with her. So I just feel like, I look and see how God has maneuvered even in the distance, even while I'm here. I look and see the favor that she gets,
Yeah.
the favor that I get when I go to visit her. I have family and friends there. I don't certain things I don't have to worry about when I get there. When she gets here, we always have ways to get her back and forth. Family here for her that helps to transfer. It's just so many things that I see, even in the distance, God's hand on it, and it helps us to maintain the relationship, and it helps me to serve because yeah, I just think back. He did it before, he'll do it again. So it keeps me encouraged to know that he's still taking care of me even in the distance.
Yeah, I think this is so important, and this may be important for somebody who's watching, who is struggling with the following process. There's a story in the Bible where these people came to Jesus and they said, I want to follow you. I want to follow you. And Jesus said, well, the birds have nests and the foxes have holes, but the Son of Man have nowhere to lay his head. And then Jesus looked at another one and said, you come follow me. He said, well, Lord, let me go and take care of my father first, and then I'll be back to serve. And Jesus told him, said, let the dead bury the dead. In other words, one of the things that Jesus was trying to get us to understand, that even while we have close relationships with family, and we do, if Bishop Wade, our leader, Bishop Wade is big about family. And so we're not saying that you should lose your family at the expense of the call. But we are saying that sometimes when you're doing the call, you have to leave your family in the care of God too. That even though there are things that we try to do, and listen, and somebody may be watching, that we try to do everything we can to shield our children for certain things, and we don't want them to do certain things. But the Bible is clear that even after we've done our part, we have to turn our children over to the Lord and trust that the Lord will continue to guide their footsteps as we are journeying with them. I'm encouraging somebody who's right now, who's at a crossroad in trying to follow, because that's what we're dealing with today in the leadership, aspect, of this. We're trying to get you to understand that doing the course and the journey of being a good follower, we come to those hard choices in our life, and doing God's will can put us in different little circumstances. But as we continue to follow him and trust him and do our part, then we know that God will help to do those things that we cannot do in and of ourselves. I think that's very good. And I hope that some of this conversation is being encouraging, because there are some people who are watching and you want to be faithful to what God has called you to do. You want to be able to trust what God is calling you to do. And sometimes we have what we call the distractions of life happens. But when those things happen, we have to be assured that as we continue to do what God has called us to do and remain in balance, that God will take care of those things that concerns us. All right, this is good. I hope you all, for a minute, I just want to take a pause for the cause. I hope you all are enjoying this conversation. One of the things that the Bible teaches, you have to count up the cost of what it's going to take for you and I to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. And for all of us, me and you, we have these hard choices to make when we're following, and then we're trying to be faithful to the thing that God is calling us to do, whether he has called us personally or called us through our leaders. We're always asking God, help me to stay in that balance, in that grace zone that you want me to abide in, so that I can hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. So this is good. This is good so far. Now we have Bishop Taylor here. He served up under Apostle Washington for a number of years before he transitioned to be with the Lord. And so, Bishop, talk to us. What has been one of the hardest things that you've had to deal with in being a follower, trying to be a faithful follower? So talk to me.
Basically, again, thank you for this opportunity again. Um, Basically, when you going from one place to another, and when you basically saying you going from one house to another,
Yeah,
where you was at before is totally different.
yeah,
And then when you get to a new house, there's something different.
yes,
And so trying to adapt and trying to follow those instructions that is given from the set man or woman of God of that particular house, when you know something, it's just a little hard. It's just a little
yeah.
hard. So it's almost like me coming in with 4 or 5 different pairs of glasses on at the same time.
Yeah,
And each one of those glasses have different prescriptions.
yes,
But now I'm going to this house and I don't added another layer of glasses. I
yeah,
can't see clearly. I can't
yeah,
follow clearly because I'm still trying to look out of the other glasses that I had on.
yeah.
So that was my struggle of trying to look out of the same glasses. I had to learn how to take those
Yeah.
glasses off and wait until I get the new prescription.
Yeah, you say something that is so key. I think when we're in different places of service, and I think every leader and every follower can attest to this, that a leader has a vision, the set person of that house has a vision, and while you follow, it doesn't mean that you are blind and only see that vision. There are things that you see just from your own position, in light of the vision that you're in that house with. So one of the things that normally happens is, if not careful, then the follower and the leader begin to have disagreement about vision. I see it one way, you see it another way. And so I think one of the things that you're saying that is so key is, when I come into a house or set house, it's important that before I begin to maneuver places, that I begin to learn the house that I'm in. Some people go from church, different churches, and when they're making that transition, one of the things that we try to do is bring from one place and bring it into another place, and then we start seeing the butting of heads. And one of the things that I think this will segue into part 2 of what we're going to talk about tonight is how in service, how to be a help. And so sometimes in our haste to want to help, we want to help before we get to know who we're helping.
That's
I,
good,
I think
Bishop.
that is good.
Wow.
I think that we get so in tune with how we feel and how we see it going, that we don't even spend time to get to learn who you're serving. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Now, this is important. Now, some of you go to different churches, and we could be so vision oriented that we lose being in a relationship. you
Wow.
know and the thing that helps us to work better is to learn how to relate to one another in that area as we move from house to house. You're married, and before you got married, you had a vision. You get married, you have a wife, she has another vision. Now we trying to make this stuff work together, and that's a lot of adjusting, and sometimes we try to work together before we get to know each other.
Mm.
So in this, how important would you say as a follower it is to develop relationship with who you're serving? That's open for anybody as we're talking.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take that. No, go ahead,
Oh,
Brother
so go
Marcus.
Go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead.
It's very important
Yes.
because, first of all, you need to know, and they need to know who is among them.
Yeah.
You have to know basically who you're following,
Yeah.
and then the leadership needs to know that you're willing to follow what their orders are.
Yeah.
It's not a science to it, and I think one of my things was I made it difficult because I still wasn't seeing clearly. But
Mm-hmm.
after I sat down and I first of all I consulted God and said, God, what is the vision of this house?
Mm-hmm.
What is the vision? And so I'm not going to just take this just for the house of God, but even me transitioning from one career to another or one employment to another,
Yes.
I everything changed. Even though I may have been in the same field, but one school may have said something different, or one organization said something different. And yes, it was good for over here, but it wasn't good for over there.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out, and I did that by fellowshipping and by asking questions, praying
Oh.
and consulting God. God, what is the vision of this house? Or, sir, ma'am,
Yeah.
what is your vision?
Yeah.
What would you have for me to do?
Yeah. Yeah. So I hear you saying one of the ways to make that transition to be a good follower is to, number one, ask the vision of the place you're in. I
Correct.
think, what I've discovered is we think our gift is the vision.
Mm,
So when people join different things, they think the vision centers around their gift and not their gifts should work with the vision. And so when I join different things, I can sometimes I only see what I want to do or I can do. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know how to look around at the whole and to see how does my gift work with the vision and not center the vision around my gift. This is very important. Somebody need to put that in the chat. My gift is not the vision. My gift is not the vision. If you're somewhere and you're serving, whether it's on your job, whether it's in your church or wherever, you need to sit and get a full understanding about what the vision is, not what your gifting is. What is the vision of the house? And then how does my gift aid in the vision? How does my gift aid in the vision? All right. This is good. This is good. So number one, we need to ask what the vision is. Brother Marcus, talk to me about how important do you think it is to build relationship, with, as becoming a follower. How important do you think that
Um,
is?
for me, I remember as when I joined the church because I didn't grow up in the church. Your reach into my life again is what won me. Getting up in the morning, you would call us to make sure we was up. You would call us to make sure we was gonna be on time to church. You did it so repeatedly till it became a part of me that I got the vision. But if you did not call me and say, "Hey, brother Marcus, Saturday night, are you gonna be in church tomorrow? Okay, are you gonna be in church on time?" If you didn't put that in me to give me the vision, I couldn't carry it on my own.
Yeah.
So it was your instructions at 8 o'clock service, 11 o'clock service, 6 p.m. service, the meeting, all this structure, put it in me. So it made it easier for me to perform the vision because of the instruction. But again, it was a lot of discipleship where you actually called, that was the personal touch. You being the bishop didn't have to call necessarily, but you called and you text and you checked and you follow up on till it got part of me that I didn't want you to call as much because I was like, Bishop, I got it.
Yeah. I think this is so good to talk about because sometimes in leadership, we forget that our job is to develop. And so subtly sometimes a leader, and this is one of the things that I can say, I'll just speak personally. One of the things I had to learn was while God has given me a vision for the church, that I have to begin to show the expectation of that vision by showing, for instance, you come in, people may not be used to accountability. Somebody ought to put that in the line. If you're not used to accountability, I can teach you what accountability means. I can tell you what it means. But then when I say to you, hey, it's, as you said, when we first started, I called, hey, church is tomorrow. Are you prepared for worship? Will you be here tomorrow? Talk to me. What me calling is teaching what I expect. If I don't spend a period in the teaching and the discipleship, then sometimes as a leader, we're looking for a harvest for a seed that we never planted. So many of us are looking for things as leaders, as leaders of organization, leaders of churches, and different things. We're looking for a harvest and even believing God for a harvest on things that we never planted in people. You can only expect the harvest when there's a seed that has been planted. And sometimes the seed is not just teaching from the pulpit. Sometimes it is in the holding me accountable. Did you do such and such and such? No, I didn't do such and such and such. Well, why didn't you get such and such done? Because of such and such and such. Well, when that come up again, this is how you handle that so that you can be better the next time around. I think this is so important that we begin to say to people. I reflect about my time at Panama City with Bishop. I think he would study me, and I didn't know he was studying me. Because I was so busy again, just working on one aspect, which was my gift. And I'll never forget one time we were getting ready to leave the office, and he grabbed my hand and he kept shaking my hand, and he kept saying, "All right, Bishop Jones, everything going all right?" It was Minister Jones then. "All right, Minister Jones, everything going all right?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, everything is going good." I never realized, right, that I didn't look people in the eye when I talked to them. But he, as my leader, saw that I didn't do that. And he's now going to teach me, not just say, look people in the eye when you talk and then leave it alone. He kept holding my hand and kept shaking. I was like, "Bishop, let it go, let it go." He kept holding my hand and shaking it until I kept looking at him. And then he kept working to make me have a conversation with him. "So how is everything going? How is everything?" He was trying to break something in me that I had been trained. You see what I'm saying? That I've trained myself to do. So when I'm building a relationship with my leader often asks me to do things not just for task's sake, but to break certain traits on the inside of me so that I can become a better leader. There are things that somebody may be watching tonight that your pastor and stuff is asking you to do, and you're saying, "Oh, that's beneath me. I don't understand why they keep asking me to do that." Well, it may not be in what they're asking you to do. Maybe God has a whole nother agenda that he's working on in what he's asking you to do. And I want you to be encouraged that when your leader is asking you to do some things that may not make no sense to you, because you can't see how it makes sense, because you're seeing it one way, I would submit to you, maybe it is not the task that you've been asked to do. It's something in the task that God may be working on. This is good. All right. I hope you all are enjoying our conversation, because our time is going by so quick on tonight. Brother Carlos, talk to us about how important do you feel building relationship is in being groomed as a leader?
I think it's very important. One of the things that I feel is very important as a follower is to have the scent of my leader. Whenever I go somewhere, someone should be able to tell that that's who I've been fellowshipping with.
Wow.
I think that uh, in developing, getting the scent of my leader, it helps me to take the load off of my leader. Elder Marcus and I, we have little signs that Bishop does that he doesn't say anything, he just does a certain motion, and we know what that means. And that's from studying the leader. That's from being in relationships. Certain facial expressions might mean some kind of discomfort or something. But that's from being with my leader, and hearing the mindset of my leader, knowing that at some point I have to act in the stead of my leader. So if I don't develop a relationship with my leader and get an understanding, being able to feeling comfortable enough to ask certain questions, paying attention in that relationship to just understand the train of thought of the leader, so that I can lighten that load, so that m- uh, my leader can understand me. One of the things that I wrote down when you asked the question is, building that relationship helps to develop pattern. You did an example today in church when you were exchanging, talking about relationship. It develops a pattern, and in that relationship, when my pattern gets off, when I'm starting to do something and I deviate from what's the normal relationship, says, okay, something is off. And then I get the question, are you okay today? Or, even with my leader, if something is off, because we have a pattern, a consistent way of behaving to one another. If my leader is off, then I say, hey, Bishop, you all right today? Or do you need anything? It helps me to know. So that relationship is just strengthening the union, and then it allows better service, I believe.
There is a scripture in the Bible. It's one of my favorite. I got a lot of them, but it's one of my favorite. The Bible says to know them that labor among you. But the word know is audio in the Greek. The word know in the Greek has very, you have gnoskos, you have audio, but audio literally means to watch and observe. So when the Bible is saying to know them that labor among you, one of the things that build the relationship is communication and learning how to watch. The Bible says it this way, even when concerning marriage. The Bible says that this man needs to dwell with his wife according to knowledge. You see, so the man has to become a disciple of his wife in order to treat her better, and the wife has to become a disciple of the husband in order to know how to treat him right. See, the relationship works good when we have committed to watch one another. So when we are talking about building relationship, and so that you and I can become better followers, better leaders, we're talking about you cannot be so self-centered in the relationship. A leader can't be so into themselves that they can't watch their followers, right? And their followers can't be so into themselves that you ain't paying attention to the leader. Oftentimes Jesus had this situation with his disciples. The disciples, Jesus is saying to them, I'm getting ready to die. Hey, I'm getting ready to die. I'm getting ready to leave here. And the disciple says, well, since you get ready to leave here, who gonna sit on the right and the left? What? That's what you got. Let me behave. Do it like that's what you got out of what I just said. I just told you I am getting ready to go up and give my life, and the only thing you heard out of all of that is who gonna sit on the right and who gonna sit on the left. When two people, a leader or a follower, are self-centered, then we don't know how to hear one another as we're working together. So relationship is everything. Anything else y'all want to add on to this? Because our time is like just going so fast. But anything else you want to add to this?
I will say, Bishop, one of the things as you were talking, that came to mind is building that relationship also helps me to anticipate the need, to kind of jump in front of problems, jump in front of a need. As the relationship is built, I'm able to anticipate needs a little better.
Yeah, and that's just so important. If you're married. My mom and my dad were married for near about a little bit over 40 years, and one of the things that I learned from them is I would go ask my dad something, he would say, go ask your mom. Then my mom knew what my dad was going to say. So she said, go back and ask your dad. They knew each other so well that even if they were not together, they were able to give the same judgment because they were able to, because they knew each other in fellowship. One of the things I'm learning is as a leader, and you have people who follow, Paul said this over and over in the scriptures. He wanted us to be a one mind. He told the church of Corinth, I want you to be a one mind. I want you to be a one judgment concerning things. That even if I'm way over here in Rome and you're in Corinth, I wanted you to make sure that we still have the same judgment. If you're over there in Ephesus and I'm over here in Thessalonica, I want us to have the same judgment. See, one of the things about being a good follower is we're not asking you to be a duplicate of who you're following. We're asking you to have the same mindset of who you follow and put your personality and your gift on top of the substance that we gave you. I know some people, we got 15 minutes, so here'll go a real good question that just came to my mind while I was saying this. I know for men, one of the issues of following, and sometimes women, but I know specifically with men, is to give up that thing to say, you ain't gonna make me like you. I'm my own person. I'm my own man. I got my own way of thinking. Sometimes that becomes a barrier when we're trying to make the transfer. And this could be on your job. This could be in the church. But talk to me and tell me, has that ever been one of your issues in following? I'm not, you ain't gonna take over my mind.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
Bishop, I would like to say, I wrote down, understanding your leader's passion will make a difference, because that explains the why. You're a stickler for order, and as I followed you, I found out the why it's important to do what you do. It's important to start on time, and you instructed us if you're not there, what to do, because it must go on. You see what I'm saying? So your passion for order and structure, and when I understand why it's important that the sound be right, why it's important that the sanctuary is together, so that when the people come in, there's no distraction. So that puts it in me because it's important to you. So I would say understanding the leader's passion will give you the reason for the why.
I'm laughing because as you're saying this, I'm reminiscing about being in Panama City again. And part of my assignment was to make sure that the sanctuary was in order. And Bishop Wade, Bishop Wade, at that time, we was in the storefront, and Bishop Wade would pull out the yardstick and make me measure the chairs and the spacing. He would tell us the chairs need to be such and such inches apart, and he put the stick down there, and he would say, you need to make sure this is measured. Don't slop it together. This is the Lord's house, and the Lord's house should be represented in excellence. It took a while for me to get that because I didn't understand the why behind it, but as he kept talking and explaining why he did what he did, then I began to understand, and I worked from another standpoint. I worked from you just giving me orders to me understanding why this order is important so I can fall in suit with what you're saying. And I think what you just said is very important. And this is one of the things I would say to anybody who's watching and you want to be a great follower. Ask questions. Y'all know I'm big on that. Ask questions. One of the things our ego would make us assume we know, and we don't want to ask questions because we don't want to appear a certain way. But a great follower will ask questions. Ask Jesus' disciples. He'll have a whole lesson, and at the end of the lesson, they'll go out in secret. They say, "Hey, we heard you teaching about that, but we didn't get that. Can you explain that again?" I think that is so important. If you're going to be a great follower and a great asset to your leader, do not be afraid to ask your leader questions. All right. So thank you for sharing that. Talk to us. Have you ever had that thing of fear of somebody trying to control my mind, take over my mind? Talk to us about that. If there has ever been a concern of yours, because somebody may feel that way as they're dealing with leadership right now. They trying to make me be like them. Let's talk about this because I think this is important. Yes, sir.
I think earlier on in ministry, I kind of struggled with it. Um, and as I grew and mature, I found that the struggle was because I came in thinking that I knew something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I came in with the mindset that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the more I hung around, echoing what Elder Marcus just said, the more I figured out the why. The more you told me the why, the more I realized you don't know. Um, you need to let somebody help make you, because what you know, you done learned it wrong. Half of that is half cocked and not right. Um, so um, so as you would give understanding, and one thing that I can say about you is that you are a stickler for giving us understanding, helping us to know why I do not just do it, not just follow behind me and just do what I do, but let me let you know why I'm doing it so that we can make sound decisions, like Elder Marcus said, in your absence, and know the importance that this serves to the body and to the ministry of people. So I think, like I said, when I first started, I did have that thing that you're trying to shape me to be like this or be like him. But then it wasn't so much as I developed. It wasn't so much that you were trying to shape me to be like you. Like Bishop Taylor said, this is where I'm serving over here in this house. This is how this flows, and this is why this flows like this. This is our goal for flowing like this is what we're trying to do. So then once I understood that, and understood how important it was to fit into the body and to fit into my local assembly, then it helped me to understand, okay, he's shaping me, and the principles that I learned, I can take them anywhere and
Yeah.
serve. The principles that I learned, the why, helped me to say, okay, this is a train of thought that even if I'm in another house, you
Yeah.
take this over here. You don't cross your leadership. You follow this. So it's just, as I developed, I knew that it wasn't that I was being shaped to be you, but I was being shaped to be an asset to the ministry through you.
Good stuff. Bishop, yes, sir.
Oh, I'm just shaking my
Oh
hand.
yeah. Listen,
Woo.
we're gonna have to wrap this up. Our time has come and gone, and I finally stopped sweating. But our time has come and gone. I want you all to prepare a one-liner that you would want somebody who is following, who is learning how to follow. Prepare a one-liner to what would you say to them? What's something that you would say to them that they can have in their hearts so that they can continue to be motivated, to continue to be a good follower? And I'm going to come back to that. Listen, I hope that you have enjoyed our conversation. I want to say thank you to our bishop and our overseer Wade for allowing us this time to share. Okay. How to share. I was reading this question, how to share, excuse me, in this whole thing of becoming a leader while you're following. I hope you've been blessed by it. I want to encourage you. Listen, for more conversation like this, I want you to join us in the college. You got to be in the college.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a great blessing. It will be a great asset to your life. Next year, you need to make plans to join us in the national gathering, and that's on June 27th through the 28th. You need to be there. You need to go to Eventbrite like right now, and you need to go ahead and register to be a part of the college. I said like right now, like
Right now.
while you sitting here, look on your phone, go to Eventbrite, and do it right now and register to be a part of the college. I know it's next year, but go ahead and sow that seed and get in it so you can have your seat. Because more conversations like these we're going to have so that we can continue to grow and become. It is the heart of our leader, Bishop J.W. Wade, that you and I grow and become so that we can help reach another generation. That's what the college is all about. That's the heart of our bishop. He would give us those 7 pillars. Listen, I'm telling you, you need to get here. You need to be a part of this. And again, we appreciate our leader, Bishop Wade and Overseer Wade, for having this opportunity. So while you prepare your one-liner, can you throw that question back up there for us real quick? Let's see what we can do, and then we're going to take this one-liner and we're going to get on out of here. How do you handle the situation when you don't get the why? So here's what I've learned. I don't think sometimes we don't get the why. I think sometimes we may not agree with the why. And when we don't agree with the why, sometimes we will label it as I don't understand it. It's like God giving you information, and he tells you why he's doing it. And you're like, well, I don't get that. When I say I don't get it, it's because I got a way I already got. I know it's not proper English, So when I say I don't get it, it's because I got another way. And what I've learned is in order to embrace the why, you got to give up your other why to receive the why. Now, if the leader is not communicating it in a way that you truly want to understand it, one of the things I say to our leaders, just keep asking questions, go deeper with your questions so that you can get the understanding that you're trying to get. So I would encourage you, I asked the question, okay, I didn't quite get that. And the leader may say, well, what part of that didn't you get? And then you share with the leader what part did you get, and they will go back over it or open it up a little wider so that you can understand it. So it either falls in one of those two categories. I will keep asking the question, going deeper and deeper, not in a way of disrespect, but I'm just trying to get a good understanding. But on the other side is I have to ask myself, am I not understanding this because I don't want to give up the way that I think it should go to grab it? So that's what I would say to that question. You could type in and let us know if that helped you or not in your understanding. Give us your one-liners while they respond. What's one thing that you would say to encourage someone who's doing a following, who's following?
Bishop, I wrote down, you don't have to be as close as you think in order to get your leader spirit. In following, sometimes people think you have to be in the number, the
Yes.
closest one to the leader. I call myself a sixth man. I wouldn't say I'm a starter. I like coming off the bench. That sixth man is very, very important.
Yes, sir.
So I say that to say, again, you don't have to be as close as you think you are or you need to get what you need from your leader.
And I agree, because I think sometimes we think proximity means closeness. There were people who were close to Jesus, like the disciples sometimes, who still didn't get Jesus. But there was those who were not close in number, but they are in proximity, but they were open to the teaching, and they got closer to Jesus through teaching and watching than the people who were around him got it. So that is so good. So we don't want to just be saying, I want to be around my leader, around my leader, around my leader. No, I'm looking for that closeness of receiving and understanding. That was very good, very good. All right, Brother Carlos, as we get ready to come to the close on this.
I wrote down that following is for my development and there's safety in submission.
Beautiful. I'm not going to deal with that because they'll open up another can of worms. Whole another hour conversation. To understand the beauty of safety in submission, and also to understand submission does not mean control. That's very important that you understand that. This is good stuff. I love it. Bishop, what you have to say to us before we get out of here?
So I'm thinking about the awareness. Good followers learn to read people and understand what upsets and motivates them.
Very
Okay.
good.
And then the second one was courage. Being a good follower requires strength and conviction to stand up to leaders when you don't believe in what what is going on, but you have to be able to say that in a way that it's not going to be challenging.
Hmm. I understand.
So a good follower can still say, "Hey, I don't know about this," but don't be that one to buck. Remember, you are a sheep, but you're not a goat.
Okay. Yes, I agree. That was so good. We may have to do something else on because I think these are such good nuggets. There are times that you and your leader may not agree, and just because we don't agree, don't mean we have to break fellowship.
Right,
And I think sometimes when we understand that, then we can continue our journey together. Listen, we got so much more to say, but it is at our 8 o'clock hour. Again, I want to say to you that you need to join us. Join us at the International College, Leadership College of Bishops and Pastors, June 27th through the 28th of next year. You want to be there. And again, you need to register like right now. Do that like right now. All right. So make sure you're a part. I pray that some of the nuggets that we shared on today will allow you to continue to grow and us to continue to grow too, because we're talking together. We're not talking at you. We're all
right.
growing together so
Yeah.
that we can continue to be great followers. Why? Because good followers make good leaders. I want you to have a great night. Thank you again, Bishop Wade. Thank you again, Overseer Wade.
Yeah.
We're so glad for
Thank
you as
you.
our leaders. We're praying for you. Good night to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Have a great one.
Amen. Thank you.